Staying till late. I think for some places it's already pretty late right now. So I'll try to keep it light and interactive in a way so you can at least get something new out of the session. This is a slide that you might be seeing since a few days back when we are promoting the event. So I'll jump onto the next slide here. So this session is all about understanding the low-code chatbot using Power Virtual Agent. So what we have in Power Virtual Agent and how you can use, or anyone and everyone can actually create bots these days. A little bit my background. Yes, I'm Deepak Srivastav, Senior Manager at EY. I'm Microsoft MVP. I'm also a Power Automate community super user. So if you guys working on Power Automate Flow, and if you are having any questions, you might be knowing there's a community that maintained by Microsoft where you can ask questions. There's a lot of great people there who can help you through your journey of Power Automate. I'm also a Houston Power Platform user group leader. So we have a Power Platform user group at Houston that we run. We generally invite speakers every month or quarterly to cover some of the topics. I also have a YouTube channel. If you want to take a look, it's the URL is here, https://aka.msdeepakyt. My Twitter handle, if you want to connect, and my LinkedIn profile name. So if you want to connect with me, all of these channels are open. You can definitely contact me easily. Okay, so I know this slide, you guys you might have seen this slide maybe most of the sessions today. So I'm not going to spend much time. This is just the presentation of what we have under Microsoft Power Platform. And as we know, it's a one low-code platform that Microsoft introduced that enabling our citizen developer and actually everyone to create reporting Power Apps, building apps, automating things, creating the different flows, and the Power Virtual Agent bot. That's what we're going to see today. So the Power Virtual Agent empower people to drive more business value through easy to create natural conversational AI. So it's not just something that you are creating as a bot that can just give answer to a question, but think bot as a conversation between the end user or your customer with the bot. So bot is nothing but you are creating the human replica in a way that can do a good conversation with your end customer. Now the few challenge that we always have struggled. There are not enough professional developer to create the huge number of applications and chatbot that are needed right now. So there is a big need of these kind of bot. So Power Virtual Agents provide a no-code graphical user interface that enabling anyone and everyone to build chatbot without requiring any special skills. So if you want to create a bot, you can easily do it by using very easy user interface. Now, some of the complex challenge that industry is experiencing these days, or you as a company, or you as a developer, or you as a business leader, you are also facing those challenges during your work. And these are the challenges, right? So, and again, these are the analysis done by Microsoft. So these are the percentage that they have captured by doing some surveys. So based on that, 66% companies try to use self-service first rather than contacting an agent or assistant. So that means 66% of company trying to build something in-house. They don't want to go out. 90% of customer expect the consistency and continuity across the channels, right? Now, channels means you can have different channels. You can have a website, you can have a customer portal, you can have an internal portal, right? There are different channels by which either your internal or external team can interact with these bots. So they want the consistency there. And 59% think that channels are managed in silos. So when I say in silos, and that definitely you might have experience in your organizations, every team has their own way of doing things. So they work in the silos, and maybe you are duplicating the work and you are just doing the same thing and again and again. So these are some complex challenges that people are experiencing. Now, answer to those challenges can be a chatbot. Yes, you can create a universal chatbot that can actually mostly answer most of those or help answering on those challenges. But if you think from the classical point of view, or before Power Virtual Agent came into the life, chatbot can be very complex to build, right? And you need to put a lot of technical infrastructure upfront and then a lot of effort in creating the content as well. So chatbot is just not that you create something, you need to make sure that they are supported by very well-defined content. And this is the technical side, and there is a personal side of it, right? Because when you are creating these chatbot, there is a lot of friction that goes between the different teams. Subject matter expert may be requiring something, developers saying that, okay, this is not the way it should be done. So there's a lot of friction happen because there's no defined rule or set of rule that they both different parties involved creating these bot can use. And finally, if you cannot create a bot that can act on behalf of the customer or connect you back to your system, it's not as useful as it should be. So that means that you created a bot, but it's not really interacting with the customer as a human, and it is not enabling access to a backend data so that you can answer those questions easily. Your bot is just not useful. So that's where the Power Virtual Agent came into the picture, right? And in the vision from the Microsoft is covering these 4 key points. The first one is engage naturally. So when you're creating a virtual agent or when you're creating a bot, the Power Virtual Agent is going to make sure that it engages with your customer in a natural conversation. So it's not like so when you talk to the bot, or if you have already seen this in other presentation, it's very conversational, like you are talking to a human. You can do hi, hello, and then they will respond to based on your question, it will respond, right? Then we have democratized AI, right? So it should be having some inbuilt AI. So you don't need to keep changing your bot based on your customer interaction. Rather, it should have some inbuilt AI so it can help you to improve your bot. And that's available in Power Virtual Agent, and that's one of the vision, right? Then the third one is the continuously enhance. As we know, the industry is changing, the data is changing, customer needs also are changing. So if you are creating a bot that not easy to enhance as you move forward in your journey, it's not going to be useful after a certain time. So the Power Virtual Agent, it's very easy to enhance as it goes. So that's another key quality of the Power Virtual Agent. And the last thing is the take action. So it's just not that it is answering the question that your customers are asking, it is also taking an action. So for example, if your customer is saying, hey, I need this information, now I also need to provide this feedback, it can be easily done. Or maybe if you're creating an internal chatbot, then you can control creating any artifact in your M365 or any other system that you are using. So these are the key visions, or you can say the key, the categorization or area that Power Virtual Agent gonna enable once you're gonna start using it. Now the next one, Power Virtual Agent is for everyone. It's not just for your customer, or it is not just for subject matter expert, and it is not just for admin and dev. It actually covers everything. So as a subject matter expert, I can create these conversational flow in Power Virtual Agent and design my bot, and I can do it myself. I don't need to go to the IT admin or developer to create them because it is easy and easily provides a user interface that I can just click through, drag and drop, and my bot is ready. As a customer, I can interact with those bot that subject matter expert is creating. Now, let's say you want to extend that capabilities and you want to connect to any line of business data. Then you involve the dev or IT admin so they can actually extend your bot and start writing Power Automate. So you can connect your bot to any other data system and then start getting those data. So it covered the entire life cycle. You can start from easy bot using a subject matter expert, and then you can get involved dev as needed to extend that functionality to connecting any other data. Now, so that was some background of Power Virtual Agent, why it is there and how easy it is. Now the question is where we can start, right? So to start working on Power Virtual Agent, now you need to go to the web.powerva.microsoft.com. So that's the URL provided by Microsoft, where you can start creating your bot. Now there might be a small change here because, and I'm going to cover that in some slides down the line, but it also depends where actually you are creating your Power Virtual Agent. So there's a standalone Power Virtual Agent. That's what you do here. Go to web.powerva.com. If you can also create chatbot in Microsoft Teams. And if you are creating bot in Microsoft Teams, then you actually log into your Teams and then you start creating there. Once you create a bot, then you just start the designer, and this is what it is showing in the right hand side. You give the name and you select the language, and then it will go to the some other step where you can just keep selecting the information. Once you have your bot ready, you need to understand the key component that comes with chatbot, or that you should know that you can use in a bot. The first thing is language. And now I'm keeping it because this is really important when you're talking about the chatbot, because when you're creating the bot, it may not necessary that you are creating bot for maybe a particular audience that know a particular language. It can be the cross language. You have to create a bot for maybe your customer in some other country, and maybe they don't speak English. They speak some other language, right? So the Power Virtual Agent provide you that capabilities. When you're creating the bot, you can select the language in which you want that bot to interact with the end user. There are many languages are supported right now. Some are in preview, and Microsoft is continuously working on improving and adding more and more language. So you can select from that list. Once you select your language and once you create a bot, the next most important thing is the topic. Okay. Now, to understand what is topic is, you can think like topic is the group of the conversation that you want to create, right? So for example, when you create a bot, you want to have a certain type of conversation in one category. So you will create the topic for that. So once you create a bot, you get some inbuilt user topic and the system topic. These are nothing but like greeting topics, or if you want to end the conversations, there is already some inbuilt topic that you can use in your bot. And as soon as users start interacting with the bot, these topic can trigger based on that. Or you can create your custom topic. And the custom topic can be, so for example, if you're creating a bot for, let's say, customer insight, where you want your internal team to look for the customer information, you can create a topic, customer insight, and then you can have all these different conversational logic tree under the topic that can help you to guide your guide your internal team to get the information that they are looking for. Once you define your topic, for each topic, you need to also define the trigger phrase. The trigger phrase is nothing but when the topic will start, when the topic will kick in, right? You can create that category that, okay, this is the one of the category that I'm creating as a topic, but when what will actually start on that topic and start going through that conversation tree that you define. That's where the trigger phrase comes in. So you can define one or many trigger phrase for a given topic. And that can be, take an example of the customer insight I'm talking about. I can say when user is going to type show my customer, that can be the one trigger phrase for that topic to start. Or customer detail can be another trigger phrase for my topic to trigger, right? So you can define many trigger phrases, and you can keep adding and changing the trigger phrases as your bot is actually in use. So this is something that you can keep updating, and you should be updating, because the more people is going to use the bot, the different way they're going to try to interact with the bot. Once you define your topic, once you define your trigger phrase, then you enter to the authoring canvas. Authoring canvas is nothing but an area where you can define your conversation tree. The conversation tree is the flow of conversation that you can define. So when customer is going to type, or when the user is going to type show my customer, what next should happen? And you can say, okay, if customer is going to type that, I'm going to ask another question, or what will ask another question, so that you will define in the authoring canvas. And you can keep defining those tree. You can define very complex tree or very simple, it up to you based on requirement. and you have a lot of flexibility there. You can ask question, you can show messages, and you can also call Power Automate from there. So that's the next slide is going to cover. So sometime what happened when you're creating these chatbot, yes, you can ask question, you can collect information, but if you want to get information, or if you're creating a bot that requires some data or some information from other line of business data, like for example from SharePoint, or maybe some SQL, or maybe on-prem, right? So for that, what you can do, you can actually call Power Automate from your authoring canvas, and that will allow you to create a flow that will be associated or integrated with your bot. And as soon as user is going to ask that question that you are thinking that for that I need to go to the flow and get that information, the flow will trigger. You can configure your flow, write all these logic and method in that flow, get the information and send that information back to your virtual agent, and that information can be presented to the end customer. When you are working with Power Automate, and if you are using Power Automate already, you know that Power Automate capabilities are endless right now. There are everyday new connectors are coming, and connectors are nothing but enabling your Power Automate flow to connect to different data systems. And as you can see in the right hand side, these are just a few. There are around 350 plus connectors are available right now, and the number is keep growing. So when you call your flow from Power Virtual Agent, you are actually exposed to all of these connectors, and you can use them in your flow to get information either from any cloud services, any file provider, any database, web API, and any other app for which the connectors are available. Not only that, you can also connect to an on-premise data. And this is also very useful, especially when you are creating a bot, because sometimes what happens, you may be having a legacy system that has the enormous amount of data that has been captured, and you want to interact with your customer, and they might be asking some question for which you need to get to the data system and get that information out. If you don't have this easy way of getting the data available, this is going to be a very complex scenario to build, and it will take months, if not year, to build something like that. But with this Power Automate and Power Virtual Agent, you can simply call your flow. In your flow, you can set up your data gateway, connect to your on-prem system, and query the data, and provide it and present the data as you want to present to the end customer very easily. Okay, and then if even on top of that, you can also create some more custom connectors in Power Automate, in Power Platform. That's going to enable you to more and more connectivity to other systems. So this integration with Power Automate opened up the entire, like I said, the entire I would say universe to actually get data from. So that was about the basic of Power Virtual Agent, where you can start what all things you can do. Now, if you remember, I was talking about that if you are creating the Power Virtual Agent, you have two options. You can create a standalone Power Virtual Agent, or you can create Power Virtual Agent inside Microsoft Teams. So what that means? So Power Virtual Agent is available as an app within Microsoft Teams, which means you can easily create your own chatbot that answer questions posted by other employee or team members. You can add that Power Virtual Agent app from the Microsoft Teams App Store and begin to create, author, test, publish your bot directly into the Teams. Okay, and that is all within Microsoft Teams interface. Now, if you want to create a public facing bot for your customer, you will still need to use the Power Virtual Agent web app. Okay, so this is what is possible now. But the question is how this is possible now, because it was not earlier. So this is possible all because of the new introduction of Dataverse for Teams. So Dataverse for Team is a powerful database capability that is now available in Teams with your existing Teams license. Okay, now if you guys are working on the Dynamics, and then if you're aware of this Dataverse, so Dataverse for Teams is the slimmed down version of full Dataverse. right? Which is the back end of the most sophisticated Microsoft Business application, including Dynamics 365, which handle massive volume of mission critical data in the cloud for organizations around the world every day. So Dataverse was part of Dynamics 365. Microsoft has slimmed down that and make it available inside Microsoft Teams with no additional license. Dataverse for Teams take essential capabilities of the platform and made it fully embedded feature and function of Team. So it is part of Microsoft Team. It is available for use. Now, this enables you to create the relational database. As you know, Dataverse is a database where you can create relational database. And it also unlocks the capability to build app inside Microsoft Teams, Power Automate Flow inside the Teams, and also the Power Virtual Agent inside the Teams. And these Power Virtual Agent app or flow that you are creating inside Teams can interact with your Teams data, can interact with your Microsoft 365 data, and also can interact with your Dataverse for Team tables that you are creating. So if you're creating a table inside the team under Dataverse for Team, you can create a bot that can interact with the table and provide information to your internal team members and other groups with which you are sharing your bot. Okay, so that was the part of what available in Microsoft Teams. Now, generally, when I present, I prefer not to talk about licensing and subscription, and the reason behind that because these things are changed rapidly. So I want to make sure that when you are listening to me or when you are talking to your customer, you get the latest information. But in the case of Power Virtual Agent, I would like to share this with you guys and at least to talk about it so that you get an idea how the licensing and pricing works. But when you are talking to a customer, make sure that you are going to the Microsoft site and then getting the latest pricing information. Okay, so the pricing or the subscription of Power Virtual Agent work in two ways. As I said, if you are working on the Microsoft Teams scope, then you have a different pricing. And if you're working as a standalone Power Virtual Agent, the pricing is going to be different. So let's talk about one by one. So the capabilities under channels. Now, channels is nothing but where you can deploy your bot. If you are using Microsoft Teams, then you can deploy your bot only in the Microsoft Teams because that's the scope for that. But if you are using standalone, then there are a lot of supported channels are. You can deploy Teams, you can deploy some other channels also like custom website and others. I will show you what all channels are available under standalone. The data. If you are using the Power Virtual Agent under Microsoft Teams, the data that you can connect is the standard connector, and the standard connector that is coming with the Power Automate. So if the connector is standard, you can easily connect because that's going to cover under Microsoft Teams license. If you are using standalone, then premium and custom connector are available for you to use under that license. Now that the chat session, it's a bot. So of course it is to chat with your customer. So how many chat sessions you can or your internal team or your customer can have under Microsoft Teams? There is no limit. There's unlimited. You can keep talking to your bot as long as you want. But if you're using standalone, there is a limit of 2000 sessions. Okay. The session is nothing but the moment I start chatting or the customer starts chatting with the bot, excuse me, your session will start. Okay. And it will stay active for 60 minutes. So you have one session for 60 minutes. So if your customer is talking or chatting with your bot, and if it talking to the bot under 60 minutes, then it will count one session. As soon as you go to the 61, the second session start, or the 100 turns. So if I am talking and if I did the more than 100 turn with the bot, then the session will end and the new session will start. So that's the session definition. And the last one, the extending your bot capability with Azure Bot Framework. So I don't know if you guys know, but these bots that we are talking about, the Power Virtual Agent, it's again a subset of the bigger picture, bigger complex Azure Bot Framework. So if you want to extend the functionality that you're creating in a Power Virtual Agent using the Azure Bot Framework, in the Microsoft Teams, it's not available. You can't do that, but in the Virtual Agent standalone, you can do that. Okay, now let's talk about the standalone pricing. So that's the pricing as of today. It may change, I don't know. So the $1,000 for per month, 2,000 sessions. So you can have 2,000 active session per month. You need to pay $1,000. And again, the session is 60 minutes or 100 turns. So that you need to keep in mind when you're creating the standalone. That's the slide part. Now let's jump onto the demo. So for demo, I have two bot that I'm going to present. And before I even jump onto that, when you start going to create the bot, remember one thing: your bot conversation tree, your tree can be complex when you're building it, but the conversation that user is going to do should be simple. So it should look simple enough so that it will not be confusing for the end user. And that's the key for any bot adoption. If your bot is complex to interact and it is asking too many questions or it's not understanding me, that bot is not going to work and people is not going to use it. So remember, that's the key takeaway, that make sure when you're building the bot, try to make the conversation simple. Okay. Let me jump onto my Teams here. Okay, so this is the one bot. It's the sorry, it is a work progress bot, and what this bot is doing, again, this bot has been created for Microsoft Teams, so I can interact as a team member with this bot. And this bot is going to help me to get information about the work that is my team is working. So I can ask questions like, show me all the tasks that those are assigned to me, or show me anything that is due tomorrow, or maybe show me tasks for a particular user. Okay. Generally, as you know, if you want to interact with any bot, you need to just start conversation by saying hi, like you're talking to a person. You will get this greeting message. You can update this message as you need. This is the default message that comes with the default bot when you create, but you can definitely change, right? After you get the greeting message, this is where the topic is going to trigger. So I need to type the phrases that I have built inside my topic, the custom topic that I built. So I'm going to just type class. I'm gonna interact with this bot as I don't want to type more. I'm that kind of person that I'm gonna just type less. I will say just task, right? Now my bot should understand that I'm saying task, and it is saying me, okay, number one thing, it is addressing me with my name, right? So the bot know who am I. Then it is saying me that, okay, you type task. Do you want your assignments? Do you need anything that is due tomorrow? Or do you like to see the team assignment? I'm going to say, show me my assignments, because that's what I'm interested right now. Behind the scene, if it should work. Behind the scene, what's happening? I have a SharePoint task list, where I'm actually tracking all these different work items. As soon as I set my assignments, I use call action. I go to the SharePoint and get the response back. So these are the different tasks. Those are assigned to me. I can see the title. I have a task link. So if I click here, it's actually going to open that list item so that I can see, I can access the data. Let me quickly show that. Okay, so if I click on this link, this is the task that open up. So I can, from my bot, I can easily go to the actual database as needed. And this is possible because, again, I'm clocking internally. It is also showing me the status. There are a couple of tasks, those are behind, and everything else. Most of them are not started, only one task in progress. So definitely I need to start working. Then it is saying, do you need some other information? I would say yes, I like to have more information, right? It's going to ask me again. I'm going to say, and as you can see, I'm totally typing something that is not correctly, grammarly correct. I'm saying due task. It doesn't make any sense. But because I have created these phrases, my bot knows that if someone is going to type due task, I need to present them with these options. So I will say, okay, show me all the tasks due tomorrow. Same logic, I got this message as a bot. I'm going to go back to my SharePoint, get the list of items, those are due tomorrow, and I'll present to the list. And again, I can click here, go to the actual task. Let me go again and say, yes, I need more information. Now I would say team task, right? This time I'm going to say team assignment. So what I wanted to know now, till this point, I am just getting the information about my assignment. But now I like to see assignment to my team, someone else in my team. Let me get the email address because that's what it's saying. Please enter the user email. So I got the email address for other user. I'm going to say, OK, show me all the tasks for Alicia. The bot is again go to the SharePoint, and it got all the tasks that those are assigned to Alicia, and I can see the status, and she actually completed a couple of tasks. So that's good, right? Let's say I'm done. I got all the information. Now I'll say, no, I don't need any information. Now this is where I call more human interactive, like humanly conversation, right? I could have just closed the conversation here as a bot, but generally when you're creating the bot, try to make sure that as conversation as you can. Like for example, it's saying you are welcomed. Did that answer your question? I would say yes. And again, all these messages those are coming in, they are coming in as a default. So if you remember, there are user topic and the system topic. So these are the pre-built topic that you can use in your bot to provide this more easy conversation with your customer. So I'm going to give you the 5 rating. And again, can I help anything else? No, thanks. And this is going to be complete, right? So this is the complete path of interaction. Now let's take another example. Okay, so this is another bot. This is a customer insight bot. And what this bot is I'm using for, so I have a Dataverse table in my teams where my team is storing detail about all the different customers that we have. Okay, so at given point of time, I don't want to go to the system and log into the data and look for the information. Instead, I have this bot interact, and I can ask the detail about the different customer that I have. So I'm going to type customer, right? And now it is saying that, okay, you want the customer, you want the detail of all customer in the West region, East region, or Central region. I would say show me the customer in the West region because I live in Houston. Okay, now again, same logic. This time it's not going to the SharePoint, rather it is actually querying the data that is sitting inside Teams. So it's giving me the list of all the customer that I have in the West region. And then it is saying, do you need to get more detail? Please enter the customer name. I can easily copy the customer name from here, paste in the chat. So I'm saying, give me more detail about this particular user, Davidson. And it query the data and it's giving me the contact number and the email. So I can easily contact this customer as needed and continue my sales or my work with these customers. So these are the different options, or I would say the behavior that you can create. Now you can, of course, these are the simple use case. You can extend as you want to extend them. So so now you have seen the demo. Now let me jump onto the actual Teams and show you how these bot actually has been created and what's going on in these bot, right? So let me go to my Teams here. Okay, so this is my team. Once you log in, and I'm going to start with the Teams bot, and then I will show you the standalone bot as well. Okay, so once you log into your Teams, and if you click on these 3 dots, search for Power Virtual Agent. Again, if you have not already using it, and if you're not at pin this, there is an app called Power Virtual Agent. So I can select it. Okay, and once you open that, this is where you can see all your bot if you're creating. So if you go to the chatbot, you can see we have seen the customer insight bot. The important part when you're working on the Power Virtual Agent inside Microsoft Teams, you need to see the left-hand side where you can see all those different teams that you are part of, right? So when you create a virtual agent inside Teams, you're creating that for a particular team, right? Or you start creating that for a particular team. So if I go to this team, that is Deepak S, I can see the work progress tracker. If I go to the private team, this is another team. This is where my another bot was sitting. So I go to my Deepak S. This is where I can see my bot. Once I click, I'm gonna just walk you through, and then I will show you how you can create if we have time. Okay, so this is the bot experience, or bot, you can call it the bot window, where you can see all your different bot and the topic, right? Home is what is going to show you like this, but once you go to the topics, and also remember one thing, this is where you can see, because it's going to look like this for any other bot that you have built. So if you want to know which bot you are working on, it's going to be, the name of the bot is going to be listed here. Once you click on the topic, this is where you can see all the different topics that this particular bot is using. And these, the different one that you are seeing, this gear icon, it's saying always on. These are the system and the user topic, right? They're always going to be there, like greeting, escalate. They are the part of every bot. So you can have them available for you to use if you want to use. Then these are some sample topic that if you are creating some bot that is aligned with these topic, you can use them. You can use them. I was not creating anything that is aligned with these, so I just turned them off. This is my custom topic that I have created task. And if you remember, these are the different phrases that I was putting here. So I used task due, team task, and I can use the task detail, work item, and all of these different phrases. And these phrases will trigger this topic, okay? And to understand or see the logic on the conversation tree, you need to go to the authoring canvas. So once you click onto the authoring canvas, this will take you to another screen, or authoring screen. This is where the magic happens. This is where you define your conversation. This is where you define your actions. This is where you define your messages. Okay. Trigger phrase, yes, you can see all the trigger phrases listed. So if user is going to type any of these, it's going to start. The first thing that we're going to show is the message to the user. Okay. And just to show you what all thing you can do, between each of these boxes, you will get the plus icon. Once you click, you can ask a question. You can call an action. This is the Power Automate part. You can show a message, or you can go to another topic, like another topic that you can see that you have seen in the front screen. Okay, I'm not going to add anything here. So this is what I'm using, show message. Now you see I'm saying hello, and then I'm using bot.user display name. So this is the inbuilt variable that is available for you to use when you're using bot inside Microsoft Teams. It's going to give you the user display name and user ID. Display name you can use to display all greetings. ID you can use if you are passing this information to the Power Automate. Okay, so I'm saying hello, Deepak Srivastava, welcome to this bot. And then I'm asking a question. What do you want to know? Right? There are different type of questions that you can ask. You can ask multiple choice question that I'm using right now here. You can collect the user entire response. This is what just I'm going to type in free flow text. You can collect the entire response. This can be good for the feedback collection. And then you have these different entities. So entities, and again, this is coming because it is working with Dataverse. In Dataverse, you can have these predefined entities. So there is entity for age, there's entity for city, for name, for email address. And what these entities going to help you, number one thing, they will allow you to collect the information for those entity. Plus, they will also have the inbuilt check. So for example, if you are using email entity, like you want to collect the email, and if you use the email entity from here, like this, it is going to be also automatically check when the user is going to put the response. And if he is not providing the correct email address, correct, I mean to say it can be invalid email address, but it should be the well formatted email address. And then if it is not providing that, then this will throw an error that this email is not correct. Okay, so this is where you can use these entity. In our case, I'm using just this multi-choice question where I'm having these three options. You can add more options as needed. My assignments, task due tomorrow, team assignments, okay? Then based on the response, and all of this happen automatically, okay? So it's not like something that I add them and then I draw these lines. As soon as you're gonna add new option, you see here there's another arrow created. So this is all handled by Power Virtual Agent Experience. If I make it like this, I can. Right? So for each action or each response, you can define the different behavior. And this is what I'm doing here. If it is my assignment or task due tomorrow, I'm calling flow. I'm passing these two variables. I'm passing the request type, that is these two, whether it's my assignment or task due tomorrow, or I'm passing the user ID. Similarly, for team assignment, I'm actually, before calling the Power Automate flow, I'm asking another question that you have seen, the enter the user email, right? In this case, I'm collecting their entire response. I could have used the email entity also. So this is the one check. Like if I need to review this is going to my first review in my flow. That's why I have not used the email entity to collect the email address. And once I got the, I call the flow, and we will look at the flow as well. The flow will gonna give me the response, and that response I'm just presenting to the end user. Similarly here, I'm calling the flow, presenting the end user, and then again, this is what you have seen. This is the continuous conversation. Then I'm adding, do you need more information? If they say yes, based on their answer, I'm just passing them to either restarting the flow or just giving them thank you and ending the conversation, right? So this is called your conversation tree. Now, when you're looking at it, you might be seeing this maybe the complex, but it is not. So let me quickly go back here. Don't want to save anything. Okay, we'll go back to the home. And then I need to show you the Power Automate also, right? So let's quickly see the Power Automate, and then I'm going to show you one bot, then how you can create. And I need to show you the channels and publishing also a little bit. So let me go to the topic. Okay, and then I click on this view flow details. Now there is one thing that you can also do. So this is the flow screen now. Now, if you're working on the flow, you may be familiar with this thing. This is the Power Automate screen where you can create, where you can see your Power Automate flow. I will click on the edit, and this is going to give me the flow detail if it load. Sometime what I have seen, this is loaded pretty quickly, but let's say, as you can see here, the space is getting smaller and smaller, right? Now I have the teams, then I have virtual agent, then I have Power Automate, and then I have this flow showing it here. So if you want to get out from this, the team screen, but still want to access this flow, you can do it. So this is the trick for you if you want to do that. Once you access the web.powerva.microsoft.com, right? That's the URL to access the virtual agent. You're gonna have the very similar URL once you access. You will have environment, then you will have default, and then you have some ID. Okay, this is the environment GUID or environment ID, right? So there can be multiple environments that are available for you when you're working on Power Virtual Agent or Power Platform. This is the default, and default is always going to be the standalone Power Virtual Agent. As we know, in my case, I was creating this bot in my Deepak as Teams, right? So there should be an environment for that team created. To access that environment, what I can do, I can go to the flow.microsoft.com. This is the Power Automate, right? From the login in the top, you can click there, and then you can select the environment that you want to go, or under which you are creating your bot. I was creating in Deepak, so I can click here. If you go to the My Flow, you may not see your flow that you are creating for your bot. These are the different flow, because the flow that you created for a bot goes to the solutions. Okay, so click on the solutions, and then you need to go to this default solution that created for Common Data Service. It's nothing but the old name of Dataverse. Click there. And this is where you can find all your app that you created for Microsoft Teams, all your bot, all your flow, right? If I scroll all the way down, as you can see here, this is the work progress bot that I've created. And if I click on that, it is actually going to open the same bot that we are seeing earlier, but now I'm actually working it outside the team. Nothing changed from what I can do and what I cannot do. It's just the experience has changed. I can have the full browser window here. Similarly, if I go here and click on the flow, this is the flow that I was using, the same flow. And if you want to compare, this is the same flow. And if I add it, if it load, right? So this is the same flow that you are seeing here. So it is much easier user experience. And again, this depends on how you want to work. If you are more comfortable working inside Teams, it is going to be the same. Okay, so this is a flow. Quickly, I'll give you a walk through. I have two input or two information that I'm getting from my virtual agent, as you have seen, the request type and user ID. Then I created one quick filter that I'm going to use to get the filter information from my SharePoint list. Get user profile. This is something that you have to do if you want to filter the data that you're getting by user ID or user email, right? Because as I said, in the Teams Power Virtual Agent, you get the ID, not the user email, right? And ID is going to be the GUID of the user. So you need that. And then you need to use this get user profile action or the connector. This will give you the information about this user that include the email address. Then is a quick condition that I have if it is due tomorrow, and this is just to create the filter. So filter is nothing but I'm just filtering the email is whatever the email that user is passing from the flow, from the bot, and the due date is tomorrow. And if it is not due tomorrow, then just filter it for given user. Then we are querying the SharePoint list, passing this filter that we are creating here, and then getting the data. The magic start in this apply to each. As you know, when you're going to do the get items, you can have 1, 0 or more tasks assigned to you, correct? So we need to go through each and every task. I have created this response variable. This is very important if you're going to actually create a Power Automate and try to send response. So you're going to start creating a string variable. And we are going to use actions called append to string variable. What this action does, it actually keep appending to your string, the new value that you have. But in this case, if you remember, I have that formatted list, right, in the task when you were displaying, if you remember this one. Right, so I'm having this formatted list and then sublist and this indicator. So all of that you can easily control here. So this is Markdown language, if you might have heard during any of the session today, but this is what you can use to format the response that you are sending back to Power Automate or to the virtual agent. If you use something like one dot and then put any information, this is going to create a numbered list. If you use the dash, just the dash, and then input anything else after that, it is going to be the sublist, right? So this is the Markdown language that you can use. So this is what I'm using here. For each item, I'm creating this. And then I'm just responding back to my Power Virtual Agent. So that's the flow that I've created, and that is, or maybe that is supporting this bot. Now let me quickly go to here. Not this one. Okay, so this is the list that I was talking about. This is my data source. It's a SharePoint. It has all that list. And as you can see here, my Power Automate flow or bot actually interacting with this list. Now let's take a quick example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go here, the home. Do we have any questions or anything so far?
Hi, Deepak. I don't actually see anything in the chat at the moment.
Okay.
But I am keeping a very keen eye.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to quickly show you how you can create the new bot. The thing that I'm trying to show you some other features that you can use to make your bot is more helpful. Okay. Again, I'm still in my Microsoft Teams environment. As you can see from the top, this is the environment ID. It's not the default. You can also create your bot from the Teams. There is nothing wrong in it. This is where you select the language. And as you can see, there are many language supports are available. I'm going to select English. Now, because I am not creating this, so this is number one thing that I like to show you. Because I am not creating this from the team, as you can see here, it's not displaying me that environment. So if you are creating, or if you want to create a bot for the Microsoft Teams, you have to be in the Teams. If you create from outside, it's going to create in the default, and that will be standalone. So let me go back to my Teams here. Right? Click Start Now. This is going to ask you the same thing, the input, the name of the bot that you would like to create, and select the team. So let's select this team. This is my default team. I can select any team that I am part of. Click Continue. Okay, it's going to ask for the name. The language is English selected by default. And this is the first thing that you will do. You will create the bot using these few screens. Once you create the bot, then you can go out and actually, if you refresh that browser screen that we have, you will see this bot created there. Okay, so bot is created, but it's not ready. And I'll tell you why. If I go to the topic, it's ready, it's quick. Sometime what you see, you will see something here, error, right? Don't freak out, because that's gonna be, it will take some time. It will take like 30-40 seconds to get reflected. What you can do, if you're not using any of these topics, you can turn them off, like I'm doing. Okay, and then what you can do, you can create your own topic. I'm just gonna go very easy and just create some simple, creating one phrase here, because that's not what I like to show you something else also. So once you create a topic, make sure that you save it, provide all your phrases here. Once you save, and then you can go to the authoring canvas. This is where you can define your messages or any other conditions. You can add conditions, you can ask a question, you can call an action, show a message, go to another topic, right? Maybe end the conversation like this, right? Few things that I like to show you. For that, I need to actually add something here. Let's say, let me add a condition here. Okay. It's very easy to work here. If you see these dotted line, right? What you can do, you can actually select them and move them. So you don't really need to delete, or if you by mistake, if you create something different or incorrectly, you can easily move these connections. Okay, so this will help you. If you have already created your bot, this is going to help you to actually map these again as needed, right? And of course, if something is incorrect, you can always delete it. So in this case, I'm going to delete that. You're going to keep it simple, and the conversation is good. You can save it. What you can also do when you're creating your bot, you can test your bot here only. So I can quickly say hi, and this is going to actually real time show you what's going to happen. My trigger phrase is review. And as you can see here, right? So all of these three completed successfully, and they are getting tick mark. If there's any error or something went wrong, it will show you here. So you can work on that. So this is how you can create a bot. You can create your topic. If you go to manage, this is what I like to show you. Under details, you can change the name of your bot if you want to. So that's good. You can change the icon also. So if you want to use a different icon for your bot, you can do that. If you go to the channels, because I am creating this bot for Teams, the only channel that I can use this bot is Microsoft Teams. all of these other channels, those are available, are disabled because they will be enabled for standalone bot. I can define security. This is also very important. I can define who can access, what kind of authentications, any web channel security, and any other allow list. Now, not everything is going to be applicable when you're creating for Teams, but this is applicable when you're creating the standalone bot. And then I can define skills. Again, this is more skills is when you are actually trying to use that Azure, but for this instance, you can't really do much here. And then AI capability. This is like enabling the AI capability so bot can collect information and provide you how you can improve the bot, right? Once you complete all your everything, you can go to the publish and click publish, right? It's not when you click publish, actually nothing happens. It's just getting it ready to be used somewhere else. You can open the bot in the team. So this is just going to open the bot in this team where I'm creating, or this is the good point. You can make this bot available to others in your organization. When you click on that, it's going to ask you that, okay, do you want to share this app, their bot with other people in your organizations? And you can say submit for admin approval. When you click this button, what will happen? Your Teams admin will receive or can go to the admin center in the Teams and he can approve this bot. And once he do that, this is what I did for this customer for my work progress. If any of after the admin approve, if anyone in your organization go to the Teams, click those three dots, go to more apps. And if they see build for your org, they will see that bot here. Okay, so this bot, because it is published by admin, is available for everyone. It is ready for everyone to use. Okay, so this is the way you can make your bot available for everyone in your team, not just the team, everyone in your organization, not just the team that you're working on. Okay, so this is the one way of doing it or publishing it. Quickly, because we don't have much time, I'm going to go to the standalone. If I can quickly find it. Yeah, now this is the standalone area. As you can see, it's looking very similar, but if I go to the details and everything else is going to be the similar. But if you go to the channels, now you have more options. You can test into demo site. You can go to the custom site. It's going to give you an embedded code that you can use in your site. You can have your bot in the Facebook, Skype. Of course, this will require license because you already seen the licensing, how that work. But you can have these many channels where you can publish. Other security skills all same. If I go to publish, this is also a little different, right? If you remember, when I was doing the Teams, it was not showing me these screens. So this is the different. You can of course publish that, and then it's gonna. I have some error in this bot, but once you publish, you can publish that, and then it's gonna ask you the same thing. If you want to submit for your internal organization, you need an admin approval. Okay. So that's actually cover everything. Again, analytics is going to show you how the bot has been used and all of that. So this actually almost concluding. I wish I have more time. I can continue giving you more insight of that. But if you can just concentrate on these basic things, number one thing, what your bot's supposed to do, keep it simple, at least the conversation. Your conversation tree can be very complex. That's fine. If you can manage and maintain it, you can create as complex as you can. But the conversation that's going to happen in this screen when the client is interacting should be very simple. And then you should know where you are creating your bot, whether you're creating your bot in the Microsoft for Teams or you're creating your bot as a standalone. Okay, by which this I'll conclude. Let me just present my screen. So this is my information again. If you guys still want to connect with me, have some questions, feel free to ask me. And thanks for staying that long, and thanks for having me today.
Deepak, that was amazing. Thank you so much. That was really good. And I particularly liked right at the end, that little nugget of advice, keeping it simple, right, for the people who are actually using that bot, because as technologists we can get a bit lost in it all sometimes, and we love it, but ultimately the whole point of this is to provide channels that are easy to use and make people's lives a lot easier. So I really love that. Thank you very much. If you could just do us a tiny little favor and maybe put some of your contact details in the chat, so that then if people do, because quite often I come up with questions after the effect, when I'm mulling things over. So if people do think of questions, they can maybe get hold of you, because we are recording this, but we won't make the recordings immediately available, because we like to encourage people to come along and interact, on the sessions. So yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And thank you very much for coming
I'm
along.
putting this link, and I'm definitely available there. So
Brilliant.
you guys can easily just
you.
tag me or ask me a question there. I'll definitely respond.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And thanks for everyone for